end of a dynasty out there in Golden State. Much more on Draymond's comments later on with Brian Windhorst and our Warriors reporter Anthony Slater. Matthew Berry, Amina Smith here with you. Hang in for the next hour. Playoff hoops are here. 3 stellar game 2s are on the slate for tonight. And our reporters on the ground, they got you covered.
Matthew, you went formal. Either that or we're talking fantasy football.
Maybe.
Busy week for football. Speaking of football, spring ball is wrapped up around the country. Georgia quarterback Gunnar Stockton is going to join us in just a bit. Plus, the NFL draft starts Thursday. But we begin with more developing news here on SportsCenter. Our Adam Schefter is reporting this morning the Eagles remain open to trading A.J. Brown and that the Patriots remain highly interested in acquiring the star receiver. Conversations expected to resume shortly on or before June 1st, likely culminating in a deal. This has been one of the great offseason stories we've been following. Our Eagles reporter Tim McManus and NFL analyst Mina Kimes join us now. Tim, what more can you tell us about how things got to this point between the Browns and the Eagles?
Well, Brown's frustrations around this offense have been growing over the last couple years. And what's important to know about Brown is that he very much cares about winning. He wanted to build a dynasty in Philadelphia. But he also cares about becoming a Hall of Famer, and I think it's fair to say that he didn't feel like his abilities were fully maximized in Philadelphia. And according to my reporting, Jalen Hurts was part of the frustrations with Brown. In specifics, when it came to zone coverage, there were times where he felt he, quote, disappeared, according to a team source. And as far as the Eagles are concerned, as one league source put it to me, I don't feel like they want the drama anymore. And could you guarantee that Brown would be fully bought in if he stayed another year here in Philly? I don't think you can say that with any certainty.
So there's the word right there, Mina, drama. And based on everything that's happened with A.J. Brown in Philadelphia, you've got a young quarterback in New England that took his team to the Super Bowl. So why would New England think about doing this?
Yeah, I think a little bit of drama is fine as long as it comes with a big-bodied ex-receiver who catches everything downfield and is the number one that New England's been looking for years now. And I think A.J. Brown, for me, fundamentally changes the roles of everyone else in this offense. He opens things up for the run game. The Patriots have faced the most man coverage of any team in football over the last 3 years. A.J. Brown, Tim knows this from watching it firsthand, well, he eats man coverage for breakfast. So they're going to face more too high. They're going to run the ball better. Opportunities will be open for Romeo Doubs, who they acquired, and I love that pairing with Brown. It makes perfect sense as to why New England did this. And this is a team, by the way, that has the budget and also the desire to win now, as evidenced by the fact they were just in the Super Bowl. This is really the best case scenario for them in terms of landing a true number one receiver.
Yeah, and look, at the end of the day, sometimes a new environment could change everything within an organization and a player. So having said that, draft now just days away. Tim, Philly's sitting at pick 23. How does this news of a potential deal impact what's in their plans for Thursday night?
Well, it certainly clarifies the fact that a receiver could be in play here. Now, the Eagles have been working to make sure that they get some complementary pieces around Devontae Smith. They traded for Dontavian Wicks. They signed Elijah Brown and Elijah Moore and Hollywood Brown to one-year deals. And so that ensures that they don't have to reach at number 23. But we also know that this is a pretty good wide receiver class. So if the stars align, then it wouldn't be a surprise if the Eagles walked away with a standout wideout in round one.
Again, if you're looking to build your wide receiver core this year, this is the year to do it. You don't necessarily have to spend a first-round pick on it. This thing's going to be deep, as we'll see over the next couple of days. Tim, great stuff. Mina, sit tight.
All right, all eyes on the NFL this week will be on the other side of Pennsylvania in Pittsburgh, home of this year's draft. The Steelers and new head coach Mike McCarthy find themselves in a familiar position, waiting on Aaron Rodgers, the veteran quarterback mulling his options before possibly committing to Pittsburgh. Here's Steelers GM Omar Khan on a Rodgers return. It's new on SportsCenter.
On Aaron, I know you guys are going to ask me on Aaron. We've had some great communication with Aaron, and nothing's changed, but it's all been positive and good. And I said this to you guys in March when we met. He knows how we feel about him, and we know how he feels about us.
All right, let's bring back in our NFL analyst, Mina Kimes. You just heard from Omar Khan. He says the communication has been positive, but what do you think is the best path forward for the Steelers QB position in 2026?
I have to believe that they believe truly it's going to be Aaron Rodgers this season, because if not, this would go down as a really seriously bungled offseason. I mean, if they didn't anticipate Aaron Rodgers returning, why would they not be in the mix for Kyler Murray, who we know is going to play for Minnesota on the veteran minimum, or even Malik Willis, right, who went to Miami? This is a roster that should be competing right now for the postseason. So I do think it's going to be Aaron Rodgers, and then you can spend that first-round pick on an offensive tackle. Will Howard has been bumped up to being his number 2. That's fine. But if it's not Aaron Rodgers, this team is in trouble.
Yeah, it feels like Aaron Rodgers is just taking his time as usual. Let's keep things in the AFC North. The Bengals making a big move over the weekend, trading for defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence. He just spoke to the media moments ago. Take a listen. It's new on SportsCenter.
I was playing NBA 2K. I was on my video game, and my agent called me. I got off. I had to exit the game. Everybody was mad, but I felt ease when I said I was going to be a Cincinnati Bengal.
Last time the Bengals and the Giants squared off a couple years ago, Joe Burrow ran off.
That pissed me
off. Do you think about that much? Have you thought about it?
No, that's all I think about. That pissed me off. But, now I'm on the same side as that, so it won't piss me off again. I take more pride in just burying the guy in front of me. I think, you can't lose that. The league want to get pass happy, but you can't lose that dominance in the middle of the field, and you can't lose that attitude of, choking somebody out and burying them.
All right, well, Dexter Lawrence all smiles at the podium right there. Giants sent off their longest tenured player on the roster to the Bengals. So, Mina, what does the trade of Dexter Lawrence do for Cincinnati next season?
Yeah, I mean, this is a player that is going to impact the defensive line immediately, both as a run stopper, but also his ability to get pressures, a line on the inside, especially particularly at nose, is so unique. At his best, he is one of the 2 or 3 best defensive tackles in football, even in a down season last year by his own standards, and he was playing hurt for much of it. He was still the second most, double-teamed defensive lineman in the NFL. So not only does he affect quarterback in a way that we just haven't seen at the defensive tackle position for Cincinnati in quite some time, he also opens up opportunities for the other rushers, right, including Boye Mafe, they acquired from Seattle. This also tells me that the Bengals feel pressure to have immediate improvement. Parting ways with pick 10, that's a pretty significant premium. But when Joe Burrow is your quarterback and perhaps he is applying some pressure to the organization to improve that defense now, it suddenly makes sense. It also makes sense if you think that Cincinnati anticipated they would not get the defender, or an impactful defender, perhaps, at pick 10.
Yeah, and finally, there's been plenty of changes in Buffalo this offseason. They have a new head coach in Joe Brady, new offensive coordinator in Pete Carmichael. Their quarterback, Josh Allen, has a newly born daughter. He just spoke about how being a father has changed his perspective on life and football. Take a listen.
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely changes mindset a little bit. I'm very excited. I do think this is going to be the best version of myself, in all aspects in my professional career and my personal life. It's such a blessing, and I've got an absolute rock star of a wife that's doing so many things right now, and allowing me to be here right now and be with my teammates. So, yes, special times. Obviously, we got a lot of new guys, a lot of new coaches, new faces in the building. Just wanting to make sure that my presence is felt here, and trying to relay what Joe has in store for us, and make sure that, like I said earlier, I can be the best version of myself and be the best leader for this team that I can be.
Josh Allen up there with that new dad glow. What are your expectations for this Bills offense with their new head coach going into next season?
Well, given that the fact that it was an internal hire, right, I kind of think the offense is going to look pretty similar to how it's looked with Joe Brady, and there's a reason why he was promoted. This is an offense that's been very successful since he took the reins. You remember mid-season from Ken Dorsey. The run game in particular is the identity of this group. There's a little bit of change on the offensive line, but I suspect schematically it's going to look the same for James Cook and company. The biggest addition, of course, is DJ Moore, and that's where I get interested in seeing how the passing attack might evolve. I talked earlier about how the Patriots face a lot of man coverage. So do the Bills, because they really haven't been able to threaten defenses downfield. So I'll be interested in seeing if Moore can add in that capacity, perhaps open things up for some other receivers playing on the perimeter, getting yards after the catch. He's very good with the ball in his hands. But by and large, Amina, I do think it's going to look pretty similar to what we've seen.
Yeah, everyone looking to see what that offense will look like next season and if they could get over the hump. Mina Kynes with the latest. Thanks so much, Mina. Here on SportsCenter, the Niners and star left tackle Trent Williams have agreed to a new 2-year, $50 million contract extension, according to his agents. The deal includes $37 million fully guaranteed and a $22 million signing bonus. Last season, Williams was named to his 12th Pro Bowl and made an All-Pro team for the 5th time in his career.
What future All-Pros will be selected in the NFL Draft 3 days away following a developing news in the league? It's in Pittsburgh. Can't wait for that. But the news is that Eagles wide receiver A.J. Brown likely to become a Patriot after June 1st. We'll still our Adam Schefter. Brown has been the subject of trade talks all offseason, and Philadelphia remains open to moving him. New England remains highly interested in landing the star wideout after last season's unexpected run. The Super Bowl, Brown is coming off his 4th straight 1,000-yard season. So you are getting a bona fide star if that's in fact what happened, as we welcome in our NFL draft analyst, Matt Miller. So, Matt, how does this news impact what the Eagles might do with their pick in the draft?
Yeah, Matt, I don't know that it does impact what the Eagles do. This is the team that is best in the entire NFL at drafting ahead of need or planning long-term. We saw them do that already this offseason by signing Hollywood Brown and trading for Dontavius Wicks. So they've answered some questions at the wide receiver position. Now, neither of those players are A.J. Brown. We know that, but they also believe that Devonta Smith is a true #1 wide receiver. What Philly does again so well, they let the board play to them. So that being said, if someone like Omar Cooper Jr. from Indiana happens to slip through the cracks and is there at 23, I think you have to jump on him. But wide receiver is not a spot where Philly has to force a pick or it's a #1 need. We got to remember, right tackle Lane Johnson's nearing the end. I could see them go to the trenches in round 1 instead of forcing a pick at wide receiver.
Well, that's what we were talking about. I mean, they have 8 picks, 1, so there's capital there to make a move. But 2, this draft is loaded with receivers. You can find one 3rd round, 4th round, and do just fine. As we know, this deal probably won't happen until after June 1st is when everything's speculating that it will go down. So with that in mind, how does this change New England's plans for the draft?
Yeah, I think it's similar, that New England doesn't have to force a pick. Receiver was never the #1 need for the Patriots headed into this offseason. It's more right tackle. It's more finding those guys to protect Drake May. And then I think on the defensive side of the ball, so if you're the Patriots, we knew wide receiver was going to be something they added eventually in this draft. Now you're just likely getting a surer thing if you bring in A.J. Brown. So I don't know that we change the direction we're going with New England in round 1. I think Blake Miller, the right tackle from Clemson, would be fantastic for them to then give Drake May those bookends on rookie contracts, because now you're way ahead in the salary cap calculus if you've got tackles on rookie contracts. So I think we see them go offensive line, maybe edge rusher if they want to get a little more speed on this defense. Someone like Malachi Lawrence from Central Florida is a hot name right now in scouting circles. But I don't think the Patriots were ever a team to target receiver in round 1. So at least Thursday night, we don't see their draft strategy change.
Yeah, what have we said about a young quarterback? Protect him first. And we certainly did not see that in that stretch run for Drake May and the Patriots. That would probably be move-wise 1, and then get the receiver coming up in the coming weeks and months. Matt Miller, good stuff. Thank you. Spring ball over the weekend. Quarterback Gunnar Stockton led the Bulldogs to a 12-2 record and an SEC championship win against Alabama 28-7. In that game, Gunnar, 156 yards, 3 touchdown passes, became the 4th Georgia quarterback to win an SEC championship game MVP. Individually, Stockton was great his first full year as a starter. Threw for 2,894 yards, 24 scores, his 5 interceptions. Also completed just under 70% of his passes, the 2nd best percentage in the SEC. Finished 7th in Heisman Trophy voting. Then Saturday, Stockton and the Bulldogs had their spring game where we saw him lead the red team to a 27-17 victory. Finished the game completing 7 of 12 passes, 76 yards, and a touchdown. Light work for Georgia quarterback Gunnar Stockton, who joined us now on SportsCenter. And Gunnar, I say this as a compliment. It seems like you've been playing college football for a decade. Does it feel that way?
Sometimes you could say that, but it's definitely going on fast here in Athens, and I've enjoyed my time.
You know, what have you learned about yourself, and what have you done now that maybe you wouldn't have as a younger quarterback?
I would say I've learned, just trusting the process, and everything isn't on my timetable, and I really enjoyed my time here in Georgia.
You know, and you look at it, you guys get out of the regular season, playoff extends that now, you get into winter workouts, then you get into spring ball. How would you grade your offseason overall from the winter workouts now through spring ball?
I thought we've had a great offseason so far. We've really got after it in the weight room and just throwing after after workouts. So, and I thought we had a great spring so far. And then we finished up Saturday. So I really thought we got better, and we came together as a team.
Have you done something different? You and I were kind of talking pre-interview. I mean, you've been there for a long time. You come in as a senior. Have you done something different between how you maybe would have approached the offseason as a freshman relative to what you do now?
I mean, as far as knowing it's my 5th year, it's going to be the last season. As far as that, just kind of cherishing every moment. But as far as, relaxing or thinking I've arrived, I approached it like it was my first freshman year and trying to get after it and get better.
You've said that in an interview before that maybe you haven't allowed yourself to enjoy the moment because you're always focusing on the grind. Is that something that comes with experience, taking a step back and saying, hey, you know what? I'm the starting quarterback of Georgia. We've done pretty well, and I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah, I've tried to enjoy just the little stuff, little moments, and but definitely just being able to, work on getting better and getting the team better is definitely our goal right now.
So now you exit spring ball. You've got finals coming up. Then you got a little summer vacation. Gunnar, what do you do for fun with your time off?
I enjoyed golfing right now. I kind of got the golf bug, so.
Let's talk about your game for a minute. How's the game?
It's getting a little better. It was rough a little earlier, but hopefully it's improving.
Who's the best golfer on the team?
I would have to say Ethan Barbour, tight end. Ethan, yeah, he's really good.
Has he given you any swing tips? I mean, who's the group that you typically play with?
I played with Ethan a couple times, but I definitely need some lessons from Ethan.
Quarterbacks usually pick this thing up pretty quick.
Oh, I know it. But he's really good player.
When you go into now, so again, off season's a completely different beast than in season. How long do you allow as the starting quarterback and the leader of this team to let the end of last season and the Ole Miss game? How long do you let that sit in there as motivation as you get ready for another year?
Yeah, I think everybody kind of has a bad taste in their mouth from the way it ended last year and not the way we wanted to finish. But it's definitely, been this whole off season. We want to do better and be better. So we've been trying to work and to, not let it end that way.
Yeah, and with the work and being there for so long, you probably know how to handle Coach Smart better than anyone. How do you, and how is that relationship with Coach?
Yeah, it can be tough. Coach Smart, if you're on the field, he doesn't matter if you're a fan or a coach or a player, like everybody, like you're gonna hear it. So but just being able to, just put your head down and work and get better, and truly, if you don't get sensitive to the microphone, it won't affect you too bad.
Yeah, how has your relationship grown with him? Because he's a fiery guy. How has your relationship between day one and today grown?
Yeah, it's grown a lot. This past year being able to play and get to, really see how his relationship is with the starting quarterback. And I would like to say he's always had my back, and he's been one of the best coaches to play for, and I think he is the best coach, and he gets the best out of your players.
I can imagine he gets the best out of everyone in that locker room. And finally, you did a ride along with Marty Smith in your grandpa's 1980